Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. Are we live? Are we live? Are we alive? Star Wars fans, are we alive? We got the... Okay, I think we're alive. I think we're alive. What's up, Star Wars fans? The Andor show is in less than 12 hours. Less than 12 hours, the Andor show comes out. So we're going live for the first time ever on this channel to talk about what's going down, giving our predictions of what's going down in the first 3 episodes of the Andor show. Yes, we are getting 3 episodes of the Andor show in less than 12 hours. Not a lot of people know that. It's 3 episodes. 3 episodes. So if you're up at 3 a.m. like I am to go watch them, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a really, really long night. So let's talk about the Andor show. We know, following Cassian Andor, yes, one of the main characters of the great Star Wars hit Rogue One. Now, what really gave Rogue One its success was that it's Disney Plus. It's Disney's best Star Wars movie by far. Let's talk about the sequels for a second. Now, don't get too offended if you don't like the sequels. I'm not going to crap on them all that much this stream because we're talking about Andor. But the sequels completely divided the fan base. The Last Jedi, more specifically, Rian Johnson, not a lot of people are his fans. But still supposed to get his trilogy, you know, whatever. Whatever you like or dislike, I'm not going to judge. But I'm going to judge you because the sequels are just straight hot trash. With a little bit of good stuff in there, but they're pretty much straight hot trash. But then you have the Solo movie, which again is not the worst. I actually am a fan of the Solo movie, not a lot of people are. But then you have Rogue One, and it sits like just a gem in a sack of dog crap, where it's just the one good thing that Disney has created for the theaters for Star Wars. And Rogue One is unbelievable, and it's a lot because of Tony Gilroy. Now, we're going to talk about Tony Gilroy a lot today, because Tony Gilroy is the creator of Rogue One and now the creator of the Andor show. But Andor, like I said, Cassian Andor from Rogue One. If you haven't seen Rogue One, you're going to be probably a little bit confused watching the Andor show, but I'm going to spoil all of Rogue One for you right now and tell you that Cassian Andor dies at the end on Scarif. But this is obviously a prequel to that. What is the main hype for the Andor show is that it's in the Empire. It's in the Empire. Now we're talking about the Empire. What is the Empire? Palpatine killed all the Jedi in Order 66, right? Legendary. Coolest thing to ever happen in cinema ever, Order 66. And he creates the first galactic empire. And with that, he just kind of rules the entire galaxy, you know, with the Empire. But we don't have a lot of Star Wars content in that time frame, the peak of the Empire, as it were. We have the end of the Empire, which is the original trilogy, the Battle of Yavin in Episode 4, and after that, all the way until the Empire's demise in Return of the Jedi. Then you have before that, in the age of the Clone Wars, in the prequel era, and all that fun stuff, but you don't have the peak of the Empire. And you get some glimpses of it in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, you get some glimpses of it in Star Wars Rebels, but now the Andor show is going to be the first Star Wars show to just be all about that, the peak of the Empire and the rebellion in its very, very, very early on stages. So we're going to talk about what's going on with the Andor show today, why we're getting 3 episodes, how long is the show, and we're going to predict what's going to happen in those 3 episodes. So the reason we're getting 3 episodes in the premiere is because the Andor show was delayed. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans were upset about the delay of the Andor show. They were like, why is it getting delayed? What's going on? I thought it was to run from the House of the Dragon and the Rings of Power, which is a good argument. Why else would it get delayed if it's not running from its competition? Which Star Wars should never do. I don't think Star Wars should ever run because it's the biggest IP on the planet. But now, getting the first 3 episodes is because of the gigantic delay. We don't want to interfere with anything else like the Bad Batch that comes out now on January 4th. So we don't want to interfere with any of that. We don't want to have 2 Star Wars shows coming out at the same time. So they have to give us 3 of the Andor episodes on the premiere. But that's not a terrible thing because Andor is 12 episodes. 12 episodes. That's a long time. It's the longest Disney Plus Star Wars show because The Mandalorian first season and second season were only 8 episodes. The Book of Boba Fett was only 7 episodes. And the last show we got, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, was only 6 episodes. and we got 2 of them on the premiere for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, so it only ran for another 4 weeks. The Andor show is very different from that because we're getting 3 episodes on the premiere, but it's going to run for another 9 weeks. 9 weeks is over 2 months, so Andor is going to be going for a long, long time. Now, why is Andor 12 episodes? Andor is 12 episodes because Tony Gilroy. Tony Gilroy is, again, like I told you earlier, the creator of Rogue One and the creator of the Andor show. And the reason that this show is a lot longer than The Mandalorian, a lot longer than especially even the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, is because it is a planned show. Not a lot of stuff from Disney has been planned. You look at the sequel trilogy as an example again. From the first movie to the second movie to the third movie, none of it was planned. Palpatine was not supposed to return when The Force Awakens came out. He wasn't. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going down that way. So there was no plan when the sequels started. The good thing about the Andor show is there is a plan. Tony Gilroy came in with a full beginning to end plan of the Andor show. And it was supposed to be about 4 or 5 seasons, but it got chiseled down to maybe 2, if not 3 seasons. Already been confirmed for a second season, Andor has been. So we're already going to get at least 24 episodes of the Empire at its peak. Now you look at all the Andor trailers, I've broken down a ton of them, but even the reviews have just been coming out because the critics saw the first 3 episodes last week at the premiere of the Andor show. So there were a lot of reviews. I did do a review video yesterday about breaking down those reviews and what they're talking about. But there's a lot of articles coming out now, and we're going to go right into one on the direct right now about why Disney Plus's Andor is going to be the best Star Wars show yet. These reviews that I went over yesterday are wicked good. I'm talking like some pretty high tier stuff. People absolutely love this show right now, so I think it's going to be a huge hit for Disney Plus, and it's a very different tone for Star Wars. You look at The Mandalorian with Grogu, you even look at Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is supposed to be the rematch of the century. Some heartbreaking stuff, which it was in the finale, but the majority of the show is following a young Princess Leia, so it's pretty lighthearted stuff. The Andor show is not going to be that way. This is not going to be lighthearted at all, but it's going to be very, very good, and it's going to be extremely high quality. So the critics see all this and they're like, wow. So it blew them away, so I'm hoping it's going to blow me away, and I'm hoping it's going to blow you guys away. But we're going to talk about why they think it's going to be the best Disney Plus show that we've gotten yet. Let me share the screen real quick. Boom. Let me get rid of this real quick. Boom. All right. Why Disney Plus's Andor is going to be the best Star Wars show yet. Again, these critics cannot say enough good things about this, which is crazy. So Star Wars is bringing a broad range to Disney Plus, from the Visions to The Mandalorian. So there's been a lot of stuff. Now it's the Andor show's time. It's about Cassian Andor in Rogue One. So all right, I've already read this article, the entire thing from start to finish, so I'm just going to give you the brief recaps. So again, it talks all about, right here, this one man, main man himself, Tony Gilroy. If there's one thing you get from this stream, it's Tony Gilroy. He is a genius. Now, he's not a big Star Wars fan. Before he did Rogue One, he was not a big Star Wars fan at all. But here he is making an Andor show after his very successful Rogue One movie. So Andor is a new perspective on Star Wars. Like I just told you, all the Star Wars stuff we've gotten from Disney has been pretty lighthearted for the most part. There's been some dark scenes in some of the movies and even in some of the shows, but Andor is going to take that to an extreme. They were even saying that it's going to be the first Star Wars show for adults. Don't really like that. George Lucas, the creator himself of Star Wars, has always said that Star Wars should be for the kids, and it's always geared towards children. That's why a lot of people didn't like the sequels, because it was geared towards children. So a lot of children who don't have the ability to talk online or give their perspective, they loved the sequels, but they don't really have a say yet. And when they do get older, they probably will. You look at the prequels. The prequels, when they came out, were hated by critics, hated by a lot of older people who watched the original trilogy, because it was different. It was way more politics. It was way more just slower. It covered a way broader time frame from the first to the third movie. But the original trilogy fans didn't like it. The older people didn't like it. But now you look at the prequels, and there's young people like me, who love the prequels. I mean, the prequels were the best, arguably better than the original trilogy. Personally, I think the original trilogy is better, but I do think that Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars film. So the prequel trilogy now is loved. Is the sequel trilogy in 10 years going to be loved? I think that's a different story just because of the story in the sequels. But Andor is taking it to Star Wars in a new light. It's taking it in a darker tone, but in a new light. So how fans are going to react to this with shows coming out now like The Lord of the Rings on Amazon Prime or House of the Dragon on HBO Max, these very gruesome, dark, bloody, gory shows. Should Star Wars go into that? I honestly don't think so. I'm really hoping that they don't, but it's going to be a little bit on the grimmer side for Star Wars. All right, what makes Andor interesting? I can give you the answer to this right now. The Empire. You have characters like Darth Vader and the Emperor, who created this galactic empire with stormtroopers that rule the entire galaxy. And now you have a rebellion. Sparks of a rebellion going all across the galaxy. And Cassian Andor is being brought into the mix of that. So what makes it interesting? It is the plot of Star Wars. The original Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, is all about the Empire and all about how the rebellion rises up, destroys the first Death Star, and they go from there. This is back to the roots of Star Wars, the Andor show. So that's what makes it interesting. I won't even read any of that. So Andor does have an elite cast. It says, yeah, right here. Andor's elite Star Wars cast. It has a pretty high up, great cast. But they're characters that we've never met before, other than Mon Mothma right here, and Cassian Andor, and obviously like other characters like Saw Gerrera. Is that him right there? Yeah, Saw Gerrera right there. They're all new characters. So it's not like the other Star Wars that we know where you're going to be getting cameos all over the place. You're going to be getting fan servicey kind of things. It's going to be a lot of new characters. It's going to be a lot of new rebels that are going to die. The thing with the Kenobi show was all the characters really couldn't die. By the end of it, Obi-Wan was going to be alive. Darth Vader was going to be alive. You knew these characters were going to survive the show. With the Andor show, the only really 2-3 characters that you know are going to survive are Mon Mothma, Cassian Andor, and Saw Gerrera. Any of these new characters that are introduced could die by the end of the show, which makes it a lot more entertaining. Not just knowing all those characters were going to survive the Obi-Wan Kenobi show in the back of your head made it a little less entertaining because the epic showdown between Obi-Wan and Vader was not that big because neither of them die. But with Cassian Andor, if you have this huge fight scene, anybody can die. I'm actually just completely go to the side here. The High Republic. The High Republic is Star Wars' new era. Let's say Disney Star Wars' new era. After the sequels came out, they saw that there was a huge split in the fan base, so they said, we really got to take this seriously. So they started on a new era called the High Republic. Now it's just, I got a book right here, hang on. Boom, look at that. Don't I come prepared? All right. The Light of the Jedi is the first book of the High Republic. I just finished it the other day, and actually I was very impressed. This is pretty cool, and I would not be opposed to going into the High Republic era. And we are with the Acolyte show, which comes out hopefully next year. But that's completely besides the point. But what I was going to say with that was that people in the High Republic books can die all the time, and you don't know if they're going to die because they're all brand new characters. Literally every single one, Yoda's in it, but every single one is a new character, so they can all die, and they do. It's like somebody dies and you're like, wait, what? Really? That was a main character. So it's a lot of fun stuff like that, and I think the Andor show can give you something like that. Plus, again, the Cassian Andor elite Star Wars cast. The cast is very, very good. So, this is insane. Andor brings cinema home. Have you seen these trailers? Have you seen the trailers for the Cassian Andor show? We're going to watch a tiny 30-second clip that they released today, but have you seen these trailers? The trailers for the Cassian Andor show are unbelievable. Like, really, really good. The quality of them is sick. Like, the Star Destroyer going above that foresty planet, so cool. It literally looks like straight out of the movies. And you watch Rogue One, which was by far the best Star Wars Disney Plus or Disney show movie, and it is the best quality one. There's no arguing that Disney with Star Wars, quality has been above everything. Like the story-wise, it's here or there. But the quality and awesomeness of the cinema is up there. And Andor is actually going to bring that home when we watch these trailers. What you need to know to watch Andor, I just told you. It's Rogue One. You got to watch Rogue One. You're going to be confused if you don't know who this girl right here is, Jyn Erso. You're going to be confused especially if you don't know who Cassian Andor is. But the cast of the Rogue One movie is most likely, some of them at least, are going to be in the Andor show. Especially Saw Gerrera. We've seen him in the trailers, and maybe even this baddie over here. So let's go watch that. Star Wars released this clip today. We're going to go to Twitter. 3 hours ago they released this. Cassian Andor is a threat to the Empire, is the quote. It says tomorrow, literally less than 12 hours away, ladies and gentlemen. But tomorrow, witness the rebel in Andor. All right, so let's watch this from the top. Whoa, that's pretty big. All right, let's watch it. I'm going to have a little bit of volume. Why is it so crappy?
Before the Empire ruled the galaxy, a rebel was born.
Cassian Andor. I need all the heroes I can get.
How do you know about me?
Find Cassian, get a hunt started.
I'd rather die
So they're talking about Tony Gilroy.
trying to take them down than die giving them what they want. At what cost?
Everything!
Cassian Andor is a threat to the Empire.
Star Wars Andor, 3-episode.
3 episodes. That is the key. Don't go watch one episode because you think it's only one episode release. It's 3 episodes.
Premiere streaming tomorrow.
Before we watch that again, let's talk about how long we think these episodes are going to be. Hang on one sec. Let me get back up here. All right. Let's talk about how long these episodes are going to be. There's 3 episodes. Again, I told you it's going to be 12 episodes total in the first season. So how long are these episodes going to be? That's a great question. You have the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, where the episodes varied from 30 minutes all the way up to 50 minutes. You had The Mandalorian, which was about the same. And then you had the Boba Fett, which was a lot on the longer side, 45 minutes to an hour, maybe even on some of them. But then you have shows like The Bad Batch and all the animated stuff that's all like down at 20 minutes. So where I think the Andor show is going to sit is right in the middle. I think it's going to sit in that 45 to an hour long range. A lot of shows coming out now, like I've mentioned a million bajillion times before, The House of the Dragon and The Rings of Power, they're all well over an hour long each episode. So maybe Star Wars is going to go in that route and have about 50 minutes to an hour long episodes, which would be amazing. I mean, you can't get enough Star Wars content, but at the same time, if you're watching 3 episodes that are all 50 minutes long, you're going to be sitting there at 3 a.m. in the morning watching 3 hours of Star Wars, and you're going to get no sleep. You're going to get no sleep. It's not going to happen because you said you're going to have to make a breakdown video after, and the struggles. But I do it for you guys, I do it for you guys. All right. So, yeah, I think it's going to be around 45 minutes to an hour long. All right? 45 minutes. Now, that is a long time. It's way longer than any of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show episodes. It's way longer than most of the Mandalorian episodes. Book of Boba Fett was long for some reason. Like, who knows why? Book of Boba Fett, mid Boba Fett, was longer than most. But the Andor show, I think, is also going to be longer than most. I think it's going to be very long, and I think they put a lot of money into this show, and that's why it looks so good. Let's go back to that trailer. Hang on one sec. I get way too distracted, so if I get off, just tell me in the comments, because I'll get right back on track. Yell at me. I'll do it. All right.
The Empire.
Darth Vader. Will we see Darth Vader in the Andor show? I certainly hope so.
Galaxy, a rebel.
Cassian Andor. All right, so will we see Darth Vader in the Andor show is a pretty tough question. I don't know. Now, they have been reports that Tony Gilroy is saying don't expect fan whatever. Don't expect, what am I looking for? The words, jeepers. Don't expect cameos. Don't expect fan service. Come on. Give me the words. Fan service. Don't expect it. Don't expect it at all. Because it's not coming. Does that mean no Vader? Does that mean no Palpatine? I know that means no Cal Kestis. I know that means no Darth Maul. I know that means crazy characters like that aren't going to appear in the Andor show. But Darth Vader and the Emperor are all around the galaxy. They're the leaders of the Empire, and the Empire is a main part of this show. So why wouldn't we see Darth Vader and the Emperor in the Andor show? Darth Vader is in Rogue One multiple times, so Tony Gilroy does have experience with Vader, and Vader's in this trailer. He's right in it. So, will Vader be in it? I hope so. As a fan, as a Star Wars nerdy fan, I certainly hope so.
The galaxy, a rebel, was born.
Cassian Andor, you know.
So this guy right here, this is the scientist from Thor. But he's not actually the scientist from Thor. He's going to be a politician. He's probably going to be on the Senate. And he's going to have a huge part in the show. And again, this guy's a great actor, so it's going to be very, very entertaining.
The heroes I can get.
How do you know about me?
So that's Cassian before he's joined the rebellion. That guy's trying to start the rebellion, and Cassian's like, how you even know about me, buddy? Because Cassian, when he's a kid, he gets in a lot of trouble. From the creators of Rogue One, Tony Gilroy.
Fine,
Like, stuff like this. Stuff like this looks unbelievable. This is the most grainy, crappy-looking trailer I've ever seen, because I think it's on Twitter and whatever. But trust me when I say it looks incredible. Go watch a trailer on an actual good
Fine,
film.
Cassian, get a hunt started.
So this girl is going to be one of the main antagonists of the show. She's clearly with the Empire, but she is one of the antagonists in the show. Director of Born Legacy. Guess who directed Born Legacy? Tony Gilroy.
I'd rather die trying to take.
Wait a second. Did I just see what I think I saw? What? Yes, I did. These are clone troopers. The Empire has storm troopers. These are clone troopers from the prequels. Means flashbacks. And I think the first whole episode is going to be pretty much flashbacks. All just like Andor growing up. But we're going to get into what we think the episodes are going to be about after this trailer. But clone troopers. Not stormtroopers, clone troopers.
Trying to take them down, then die giving them what they want.
Again, a couple bad guys. We know her. This guy. He's so handsome looking.
Giving them what they want. At what cost?
Lots of explosion. Oh, Saw Gerrera. So Saw Gerrera is probably my favorite rebel. I say it hesitantly because there's a lot of rebels and I like a lot of them. But Saw Gerrera is probably my favorite, and he shows up everywhere. He's in the Clone Wars animated show. He's in Star Wars Rebels. He's in the Rogue One movie. And now he's in this. Oh, not to mention the fact he's in Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, he's all over the place. So, yeah, the fact that he's in Andor is epic.
Everything.
And again, this guy screaming everything.
Cassian
Cassian is in an Imperial base here, so we know he's going. He's going in.
Andor is a threat to the Empire.
Again, clone troopers.
Star Wars
Star Wars
Andor.
3-episode premiere tomorrow. All right, we get the gist. Look at this thing. Sorry, found it funny. All right, now this is some bad news. We're talking about a little bit of bad news. Andor boss shares disappointing news about season 2. So season 1 hasn't even started, and we're already getting bad news about season 2. Fantastic. But it pretty much just says that the Andor show season 2 is not going to come out before 2024. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing shocking about that. We know that The Mandalorian season 3 is coming out next year in 2023, along with the Ahsoka show and along with maybe even the Acolyte. So 4 major shows in 1 year is a little bit too much, if you ask me. So the fact that it's coming out in 2024 isn't all that surprising to me. So this being bad news, I don't see it that way. I think it gives us something to look forward to in 2024. I disagree with all the negative hate around this article because 2023 is packed. It's packed. Mando season 3, the Ahsoka show. By the way, Ahsoka show, it's my most hyped, anticipated show ever. So good. I just can't wait for it. But 2023 is packed. It's packed. Even if the Acolyte show comes out, even if the Acolyte show comes out in 2023, that would be insane. That's so much good content. By the way, Acolyte show in the High Republic. Yeah. Sorry. All right. Let's bring this bad Larry back up. It's me. I'm huge. Look, I'm on your screen. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. All right, so let's talk about what these 3 episodes are going to be about. Plot. Predicting the plot of a show. Who would have thunk it? All right, so episode 1. What do we think is going down in episode 1? Tell me in the comments what you think is going to go down in episode 1 right now. And I'm going to go. So, the Andor show. I think it's going to open. Like this is the yellow letters in space going by. I don't know why this is the motion for it, but it is. So, yep. It's going to come into Andor as a child. And it's when the Empire has just taken over. They're clone troopers. That's why it's going to be clone troopers. And probably his whole entire family is going to die. So, I think that at least his mom and his family is going to die. Maybe his dad survives and becomes the first rebel or first organized rebel group, and then Cassian follows in his dad's footsteps, or it's just his whole family dies. And then it's going to be him as a kid, how he escapes the Empire, why he is the way he is when he's older, and what made him the way he is. So I think the first episode, at least the first portion of the first episode, is going to be Andor as a kid and what happened to him, why he's so anti the Empire, and what made him the awesome rebel that we know in Rogue One. I think episode 1's probably going to end on a cliffhanger, of course, because they're all going to end on a cliffhanger. But I think if we just got episode 1 on its own and didn't get 3 episodes in the premiere, a lot of fans would be extremely disappointed. So I'm really glad we're getting 3 episodes, because from what I hear from my inside sources, I think that episode 1 is going to be good, but not satisfy a lot of Star Wars fans' needs, when we're gonna wait for a whole nother week for another episode. So getting 3 episodes in the premiere is pretty important. I think episode 2 is probably gonna give us the conflict. It's gonna introduce us to the bad guys, the Empire, what's going on with the Empire, and actually the conflict and plot of this show. Episode 3 is gonna just go from there. So I don't really know what's going on in these, like with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. There was a bunch of leaks and rumors and stuff about what each episode was going to be about. We knew that Leia was coming, even if you didn't know, I knew. So there was a lot of stuff leaked out beforehand. The Andor show has nothing like that. There's been no leaks about plot or anything, which is good. I like knowing stuff, but not knowing stuff more going into a show like this is refreshing. It's fun. It's not knowing what to expect. It's a lot of fun. So not knowing what to expect going into the Andor show is going to be a lot of fun. But then again, what is the plot of this show? Can anybody tell me what the plot of this show is? I get Rogue One. Rogue One was to get the Death Star plans to Leia. It was explaining how Leia got the Death Star plans and put them into R2-D2 and said, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." That was the entire plot of Rogue One. And it was a great explanation. Jyn Erso's dad goes to work for the Empire and work on the Death Star involuntarily and puts a flaw in it, leading to the rebels destroying the Death Star. That's sick. That's a genius explanation. But what's the plot of the Andor show? We know where Andor ends up. We know he dies in Rogue One. What is the purpose of this show? Now that's a great question. Now can I answer it for you? Let me think about it. Yes. So the Andor show is to talk about the beginning of the Empire. The beginning of the Empire and the beginning of the Rebellion. Now it's talking about a lot more political things. Fans of the prequels are going to like it because, of course, Palpatine was the most political genius of all time. He tricked the entire Jedi Order, tens of thousands of Jedi, to not even realize that he was a Sith Lord sitting right next to them. So the political stuff in the prequels are what makes the prequels awesome. So having a little bit of politics in Star Wars is never a bad thing. It's just how far they're going to take it. So having senators like that guy we saw in the trailer, like Mon Mothma, who's a senator, and having the political side of Star Wars is a lot of fun. And then having just a dangerous spy detective type thing with Cassian Andor and a bunch of other rebels is even more fun. Explosions, fights in space. Star Wars? Is that why it's called Star Wars? That's wild. I just cracked the code. George Lucas, call him up. Tell him I figured it out. I'm the first. Do I get a prize? I figured it out. Guys, it's called Star Wars because it's a war in the stars. Like when they have those battles in space. Oh my god. So there's probably going to be a lot of fights in space. You saw in the trailers there's a ton of fights in space. Like we're talking about TIE fighters versus X-Wings versus awesome Star Destroyers versus Rebel ships. We're talking about the beginning of the rebellion. This is why people are so hyped on this show. This is why the critics are raving about this show, because it's the beginning of the Empire. It's the beginning of the rebellion. This is peak Star Wars. This is all about what Star Wars is about. And you have Darth Vader. And you have the Emperor. And even if they wanted to go wild, which I doubt they'll do, but you have Yoda. You have Obi-Wan. You have Cal Kestis. You have teenage Leia as a politician. You might actually see her as a teenage Leia politician. That would be pretty cool. You saw her as a teenage politician in Star Wars Rebels. All right, I have to say this in like all my videos because Star Wars Rebels is the most goated thing I've ever seen in my life, and Dave Filoni's a freaking genius. But you got to go watch Star Wars Rebels if you haven't seen it. Got to do it. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's just got to be done. Rebels is too good. It has to be done. Has to be done. So yeah, we're talking about Cassian Andor right now. Cassian Andor first 3 predictions. What do you got? Tell me what you got. What do you got? What do you got? Nothing. Tony Gilroy. What do you guys think about Tony Gilroy? I know you probably, this is the first time you ever even heard his name before, but what do you think about Tony Gilroy? He is the creator of Rogue One. He wasn't really a Star Wars fan before, and now he's making Andor. Do you think he'll make more stuff after Andor? Do you think they'll sign him on for maybe even a movie? Where are the Star Wars movies? Can somebody explain to me where Star Wars movies are? Please. Because Patty Jenkins just got canceled, and there's no slotted for 2023. And now the next time we're going to see Star Wars in the movies, 2025. The Mandalorian. If you guys haven't seen my shirt yet, it says Merry Sithmas. And it's a stormtrooper with a Christmas hat on. And yes, it is September, but tomorrow is Christmas because the Andor show comes out and we get the first 3 episodes. All right. We've talked enough about Andor. We've predicted enough about Andor. We've done enough talking about Andor for the day. So I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you guys. First live stream. I think it went pretty good. Pretty good. Not great, pretty good. But first one. I'm probably going to do these every week as a prediction video for the Andor show. I don't know. Do you guys like this 4 o'clock time on Tuesday? Or do you want it to be on Monday? Tell me in the comments. What do you think about the Andor show? What are your final predictions? Tell me in the comments below. Smash like if you like the video. Hit subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. And my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. All right. I'm going to get on out of here. This is like, I don't know, 10 hours until the Andor show. I got to go to sleep. Got to go get some sleep so I can be up for the time for when it comes out. All right? You guys go to sleep too. 3 a.m. 3 a.m. All right, whatever.